Where the angels look different on this side of the city. Yeah, views get in their way, but how could you blame them really, right? Skinny black boy riding all through the valley.
So getting back to the AMPTP, they faked wanting to talk to the WGA a week prior. So that was like August 5th. And they did this with the actors before the actors went on strike, which they kind of gave them the head fake. You know, they were like, oh, let's extend the deadline, you know, and they were just waiting to get promotion for their summer movies, man. It was just like a classic head fake, you know. It's just like, oh man, you know, the holiday weekend's coming up, can we extend this, you know? It's like, come on fam, it's like a straight up head fake, man.
AMPTP had said they want to sit down and have talks with the WGA, you know, and apparently absolutely you know, F all came out of that. We know that, you'll recall, like with the, I think it was the actors strike, the producers said, give us another 14 days. Maybe it was 12 days past the deadline to work this out. And it turns out that they just basically were waiting so that they could get enough promotion for some of their summer movies.
For Barbie and Oppenheimer.
It wasn't just for Bobby and Oppenheimer, but it certainly in part was a function of trying to get some of their summer movies, to get promotional stuff. You need the actors to come out on when they're striking. They won't do it.
And Barbie just made $1 billion, so enough money to pay the actors and writers.
3 times over.
Yeah,
practically. But actually, you know, it says it made $1 billion, but we spent a lot of money on paying ourselves to promote it, so we got to pay off us first. Nothing came from that WGA meeting with the AMTMP.
One of the guys I've been watching a lot is TheAdamConover. He's a writer. A writer and an actor, I guess, you know, but he's been doing some really good work throughout this strike period and putting out some good information.
I mean, if we don't win, then we're not going to have careers to go back to in a couple years, because the companies are trying to turn our careers into gig work. They're trying to end writing and acting as viable middle-class professions in America, and we're not going to let them do that. And we're out here on strike to make sure that they don't. And that's really empowering when you know that you need to show up to save your job, you do it. And that's why you see hundreds, thousands of people on our picket lines every single day.
And he was out west picketing outside Universal. Universal was just playing dirty to impede the striking riders, man. Like they were essentially engaging in like union busting tactics. Just looking at the video that Adam put out, like they were saying they broke up like the sidewalks needed to be repaired, and this was like prior to the strike, and then Universal just wouldn't allow the sidewalks to be repaired, like just straight up like dirty union busting tactics. Like you'd think this was like the 1910s or 1920s America, man, where, you know, like the railroad and oil barons were like straight up union busting and just putting their boots on people's necks. This past week and a half as well, the AMPTP called the WGA's proposal to establish like a minimum number of working weeks as a non-starter.
Sources said the WGA duo made clear that the Guild, and there's a couple of things here that are pretty impressive, will not bend on the proposals to establish minimum staffing levels in episodic TV. That's basically like you need to hire X number of writers for each show. You can't do this thing where you now hire one writer, you work them to death, and then you bring in other people to do punch-up. Because it makes it impossible for people to make a living that way. And to guaranteed a minimum number of weeks of employment. Because a lot of times what they'll do is, they'll just say, look, we're going to bring you in for a week or two. And because of the nature of the business, it also makes it very hard for them to get other gigs. The AMPTP has called those proposals non-starters and gave no indication on Friday that they're prepared to change that position. This is what I think they brought them in, though, for.
Like, I hope y'all get the implications of that, man. Like, they're saying, oh, yeah, your proposal that we gotta have X number of weeks for writers to be employed so that they can, qualify for health insurance, get some pension contributions paid into their pensions and all that. Oh, no, that's a non-starter. Like, that is so messed up, man. And this is what I'm wary of and what I'm kind of worried about. Being an IATSE worker, again, our contracts come up next year. Like, if they're doing this to writers, what do you think they're going to do with our like when our time comes around to negotiate a new contract? I kind of feel like we are going to be, I felt like the last round of negotiations, IATSE workers, we were screwed. I feel like this time around we're going to be doubly screwed. They're not going to give a damn. I feel like next time around we are going to be, yeah, man, and as far as like all this savings and stuff, this is one of the things I've been thinking about all this time. So, you have some bigwigs saying, oh yeah, the strike, we're saving a lot of money. So whichever way or whatever form the industry comes back in, it's going to impact me as an art director and art department worker in some way. Like, we're not gonna be divorced from this. Again, I go back to just listening to fellow below the line workers, people in construction, paint, art department, whatever. Like, they're souring on the writers, like, oh, they should get back to work so I can get back to work. Yo, fam, I'm at the point now, over 6 months of not working, where I'm starting to hurt. But you know what? I'm not going to be short-sighted, because if the writers and actors cave and they don't get like even a percentage of the proposals they're fighting for, us below the line workers have no hope whatsoever. None. And I don't think these short-sighted people are thinking of that. Like, yeah, you're not making the money that you're used to making. However, man, this is for the long term, man. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, like, if the writers and actors, quote unquote, lose this fight, we are all, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are all if they, quote unquote, lose this fight. So back to what I'm thinking coming out of this, and in my next episode I might go into conspiracy guy mode, man, because I have some theories about what's going to happen with the art department and the general below the line crew in the near future. But I'm really leery, I'm really wary, I'm really worried about what's gonna happen to especially the art department coming out of whatever resolution comes at the end of this strike action, because I kind of feel like we are going to be royally, whatever happens, I feel like we're going to be royal. I've said in my previous videos how much prep times for these productions have gotten shorter in just my 12 years in the business. And I like to talk to, and I always pick the brains of people that's been in the business 20, 30 years. And if some people might say, oh, you've been in the industry a long time, but I look as like 12 going 13 years as still a relatively short time in this industry. And if I've seen this like cataclysmic just shrinking of prep time in my short time in the industry, I can only imagine the way that looks from the perspective of someone who's been doing this for 23 years or 30 years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And as a worker bee, as a laborer, like when the people up top make these kind of moves, that just adds so much pressure to people like me and people, you know, that I work in and around. Like that makes our lives like kind of miserable and kind of, if you're being real. So anyway, I'm about to start this new job this week. You know, I'm gonna see how long this lasts. Whatever it is, you know, I always go out and do the best that I can, and it's retail, man, and I'm like a retail guru, like real talk, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna go in, just do what I do, just knock it out the park, you know. My plan is to get the early shift. When I applied, I made sure I specified that I wanted the early shift so that I can be off by like 1:30, 2 in the afternoon. I'm gonna race home, I'm gonna do my classes, I'm gonna, you know, work on my skills, keep my exercise routine going, go ride on the belt lines in the evening, on the belt line in the evening, you know. So I'm just gonna do it, man. You know, the rate's not great, but it's okay, you know. At least I'll have a little bit of money in my pocket, man. I'm still gonna be doing live events with my partner. Again, that whole space is very inconsistent, but you know, I'm gonna stay flexible, nimble, fluid, and see what happens over the next month, man. You know, because I definitely want to have some cash reserve heading into holiday season. So until next time, views from below the line, Hollywood Strike, you know, just keep doing what y'all doing, man. Just keep hustling, you know, and do your thing. All right, peace.